Good evening, I'm Kurt Gutgsell. A lot of things still up in the air about college football at Indiana. The Hoosiers got a couple of spring practices in before everything was shut down. Indiana head coach Tom Allen on the weird spring for his program.
Even when we left for spring break, it was just beginning and things started to be canceled from the basketball perspective, but there wasn't even clarity on what it would look like to come back. And so we left for spring break and that's when everything changed. And so bottom line is everything went to, as you know, online education for schooling, practices. We got 4 practices in, which was a positive. We had 2 helmet practices. We had a shoulder pad and helmet practice and a full padded practice before we left for spring break. So we got 4 in, but that was it. And then, as you know, with that being canceled and classes and the kids all stayed at home, never returned really from spring break. And then the reality that, they were going to be closing gyms and all places to work out and all that. So that was probably the final piece that made it really challenging for guys, because basically they had to rely solely on what they had in their homes to be able to stay on top of everything. So we had to go through. The first step was making sure everybody was in a safe place where they could be wherever their parents wanted them to be, and most of them chose to stay home. And then number 2 was, okay, how do we get them the resources to make sure they have the technology to be able to do their classwork, because that was basically how it was all going to be organized. And so that was the next step. And then number 3, once we got those 2 things lined up for each guy, we said, okay, now what do you have access to physically? So you got a bench press in your garage, you got a set of dumbbells in your basement, or whatever you have. Our strength staff, it kind of met with each person on the phone. They told us what they had, and then we devised an individualized workout plan. And then Zoom became the big thing. So I had never used Zoom before, and now I'm on it every single day and been doing it right here. But that's how we. So basically, we said, okay, we're going to function just like we are, or just like we would if we were back in the office. And so we just do everything we would be doing, and we're just doing it from home. And so we would have a staff meeting to start each day, just like we normally would, and then we'd go through everything and just kind of talk like we're talking right here around the room and get our work done and get the plan for the day. And then we would go through. We had it all charted out how we're going to organize our days and break up into offense, defense, and do certain projects for that, and then have position meetings with our players on Zoom throughout the week. And we just said, okay, we're going to just install the defense, install the offense, do some special teams work as well, but mostly offense and defense, and just treat it just like we would if we were in person, and kept the spring installations flowing throughout the last several weeks and took us all the way up through our exam period.
Elsewhere, Chase Elliott was able to celebrate a victory that capped off a very busy stretch for NASCAR. Elliott reeled in Kevin Harvick with 27 laps remaining and closed out the win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Elliott shook off a pair of tough losses to finish about 2.2 seconds ahead of runner-up Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney was third, followed by Ricky Stenhouse and Kurt Busch. The rain-delayed event closed a frantic 12-day stretch that featured 4 Cup races, 2 each in North and South Carolina. Elliott's victory was the first for a Chevy driver in NASCAR's return to Cup racing since the coronavirus pandemic shut down the sport. The University of Notre Dame and Kentucky have announced a 3-game men's basketball series that will begin during the upcoming 2020-21 season. The Irish will travel to Rupp Arena on December 12th for the tip-off of the series. A neutral site game will be played December 11, 2021, I should say, followed by a visit by the Wildcats to South Bend in December of 2022. Game times and broadcast details are still being determined for all 3 of those matchups. Stay tuned. We'll have more WJTS 18 news right after this.